Welcome back to the Carl Crusher channel, and I am actually here at the front gate of the infamous Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. That's right, this is the real place. This is the stop sign, the security sign. There is the dirt road leading up to the front security gate, and I just drove up here today. I've been invited up here by Caleb. Brandon Fugel knows that I'm up here. I might be doing some work with the Skinwalker Ranch Insiders crew. I'm also going to be exploring some petroglyphs and some really cool formations around the area, maybe even getting access onto Skinwalker Ranch to do some work. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to film there, but I'm also going with Caleb and maybe some other people to some medicine wheels or stone circles that might be in alignment or conjunction with Skinwalker Ranch that we actually found recently. And I'm going to take you guys along for the whole ride. It's going to be awesome. You ready? There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. Before we get going too far, make sure and check all the links in the description box down below, because I am part of the Skinwalker Ranch Insiders Club, the affiliate group, to where you can get inside access to all the live interviews, live streams, the cameras and everything that they have on Homestead to and around the property. Plus, if I'm going to be on the Insiders group, you guys are going to be able to catch it all there if I go and hang out with them to do stuff on this trip. So make sure and go join the Insiders crew for Skinwalker Ranch, and the links are all down in the description below, as well as my link tree. You're going to find everything else, as well as my Etsy store, my Patreon to become part of my inner circle, and all of that as well. This is the front gate. I can actually hear the servo in the security camera rolling. I don't know who's working security tonight. What's up? If it's Eric, Bard, or Brandon, or Caleb. Hey, it's Carl Crusher. I don't know if you're listening to me. They have security cameras on here. I think they can talk, but also there is an alarm that goes off.
You are trespassing.
Yeah.
Please leave the area.
See that?
This area is under video surveillance and you have been recorded.
Yep. That's what it does to keep the property safe, because this has been officially researched by government-funded groups that have come here to try and explore for UFOs and the paranormal, and all kinds of different radiation exposure and different stuff. But here we are right at the security gate, and there is the front main entrance right there that you see all the time. And we'll see if we get to go in there or not. And look at all those bugs floating around. We're not going to confuse those for orbs, are we? We're going to keep our wits about us and do a good job. So, okay, here we are. It's going to be cool. I just wanted to really start things off awesome right here at the front gates at Skinwalker Ranch. I can't wait to hook up with Caleb and others, but along the way, I'm going to be showing you guys all the behind the scenes, the inside tips and tricks, to where if you want to come up here and visit, there is a right and a wrong way to do it. There's even a best places to stay and things to go do, as well as best places to go get dinner and breakfast, best cup of coffee. I'm going to share all my inside tips and tricks on how to travel up here to Skinwalker Ranch, and hopefully we don't get a hitchhiker on this trip. The sun's going down. We're not going to stay here a long time, so I got to go check out where I'm going to be staying tonight and visit with family and make sure that everything is lined up. But first thing in the morning, we're going to be going on some awesome adventures, and it all starts right here at the headquarters and the epicenter of all strange things and mysterious, Skinwalker Ranch. So I made it here to my cousin's house, hanging out here with the cat out here on the patio. It's a beautiful evening, and I mentioned my Etsy store. I'm thinking about maybe wearing this necklace the entire experience, or I actually have this really cool bracelet that I bought off of a Navajo lady over by the Grand Canyon. Maybe I'll sell it on Etsy to help fund this research expedition. Maybe by the time you see this video, one or the other will be available for sale, hopefully on my Etsy store. If not, I'll have it on eBay or something, because I don't know how to price it or anything like that. I just want to make it available for people to help with the research. But first thing I think we're going to do is I'm going to get some rest tonight, and then we're going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to show you where to get the best cup of coffee and where to get the best breakfast when you're in Skinwalker Ranch territory. Good morning, everybody. Pardon me, I'm going to keep my eyes on the road, but I wanted to update you because I just sort of jumped in the truck and I'm running because I checked the weather report this morning and I might get rained out today. So I'm running up the road here trying to get to this spot where there's supposed to be pictographs that I've only seen in photos before. There's been pictures that have been shown to me, but I've never been up to this spot. Now I've been to the McConkey Ranch, McKee Springs petroglyphs before, and those are amazing. If I can't find these, I'm gonna go back to the McKee Springs, McConkey Ranch petroglyphs and do a better job than I've ever done before to make sure and show you guys what those are all about. Every time I've been there before, I've been with big groups of people trying to kind of tour guide and explain things, and I haven't really done an amazing job actually filming it there by myself, other than the first time that I was there. And I honestly, the first time I went, didn't even find everything. So I might get skunked out today at this first spot trying to discover these new petroglyphs or pictographs that I don't know where they are, and I might get skunked out by the rain. If that happens, we're gonna rethink things and find a way around it and still make some new discoveries today. Otherwise, we're also gonna go into town, and I gotta show you guys the 7-Eleven restaurant. It's not the gas station, it's one of my favorite places to eat in Vernal. The other pictographs and petroglyphs that we could go to in another spot are actually way over there. Like it looks like about 5 miles that way up McKee Springs at McConkey Ranch. There's just slot canyon after slot canyon, and we're actually over on the east side up on top of all that, and I can tell already this is a lot more like the type of terrain that I'm familiar with exploring. So it'll be interesting to see if I can even find this today. This place is called Docks Beach, and I wouldn't come here in a car. You definitely need a pickup truck to get back in here. I'm in a truck and it's a little bit tight, but this is promising. It looks like I'm noticing a lot of graffiti and rock climbing walls, but I think if we just explore a little bit, we might be in luck. Well, here we are. This is a place called Docks Beach, and I can see why they call it that. There's so much sand here. It looks like a lot of people go rock climbing. There's a ton of trash and nails. I'm really bothered by the fact that I pull up here and I'm immediately worried about getting a nail or a flat tire. There's shotgun shells and all kinds of stuff everywhere. Like there's a giant California condor, like an eagle flying over. But these pictographs or petroglyphs could be anywhere. I can tell there's a crazy echo. Hey! Yo! Hey! So they would have been attracted to this. The question is, did they go up here and carve or do the paintings, or did they go down here? This ledge down here looks a little bit promising, but my instincts are telling me it's up in the canyon this other way. And already you see these rain clouds coming in, this storm picking up, and the one thing that you are not supposed to do is go hiking up in slot canyons like this in the rain. It is very, very dangerous. So I'm just gonna go a little ways right there. If it starts to even sprinkle at all, I'm gonna get out of here. So I'm up here as part of the ongoing efforts to try and explore the evidence surrounding Skinwalker Ranch, beyond Skinwalker Ranch, the other locations that might be directly tied to or affecting Skinwalker Ranch and how the ancient indigenous culture, Native American culture, and artifacts surrounding might attribute to the phenomena going on there. The legend of the Skinwalker is that there's this shape-shifting Native American type entity that appears and sort of curses or wards off people with the wrong intentions, and can even cause harm or radiation or whatever. And if it's some sort of extraterrestrial contact, has this contact been going on for a long period of time, longer than we think? And is there evidence of that up in these canyons? I'll tell you right now, there's a dead animal right there with all the bones and the fur and everything. Looks like it died here or drowned in the creek. That's what I'm saying. When these get full of water and get rushing, this is going to be like a river, and this is the last place you want to be. Still got some of the fur and everything on it. There's a lot of trash flowing down this canyon, but you see, if it starts to rain, my ability to come up out of here goes way down, because this becomes like a river. So if I go down here, I could totally get stuck down in the bottom of a crevice and not be able to get out. So I'm kind of rethinking it with these rain clouds. It could be raining somewhere else, and then the water catches up with you and you don't even see it coming. This is crazy. It looks like people rock crawl in their Jeeps and UTVs. There's tire tracks coming all the way up here. In fact, it looks like most people drive up and down this canyon, so it may not even be where the pictographs are. Well, I thought this looked promising, but all I'm running into is more nails and graffiti. People coming up here and defacing things. But I'm gonna keep going because this slot canyon goes all the way down here. And then look, if I go down on the bottom, if I'm willing, I might be able to explore all the way up there or go around the base some. So we're not done yet. I'm gonna stay out of the tight slot canyons, see what we can find. There might even be petroglyphs if I slow down, even if they're sort of like carved over top of it. Kind of looks like there might be. Some of this is hard to tell. This just looks like weathering patterns, but I'm gonna keep looking. Okay, I recouped back in the truck. I felt like this was diminishing returns, but I'm taking you guys along for what it's really like. I'm going solo, getting rained out. It's windy in a slot canyon I've never been in before. Hiked way down in there, didn't see anything but trash and graffiti. So I'm gonna reset, talk to my friend who's an archaeologist. We're actually gonna have dinner tonight, and I'm gonna go back right now and show you guys my favorite restaurant to eat at here, and then maybe we'll come back out when the weather parts and check out some petroglyphs I already know. Based on the photos that I've seen, I really think that this is a significant spot, and so we're gonna be back here. I also, aside from the archaeologists, I have a friend who has basically crawled around every single canyon and explored all of the petroglyphs and pictographs of this whole region. So maybe I'll go stop into his shop. He's also a photographer and an artist and has some really cool stuff in his place that you should probably check out if you ever come to town. Now back here behind me is the 7-Eleven Ranch restaurant. That's where we're actually going to be going in a minute to have breakfast and coffee, and I'm going to show you everything on the menu that they have. But just to show you how unique and amazing the town of Vernal is, and why I like coming here when I research Skinwalker Ranch and when I look at the petroglyphs and pictographs. They've got so many cool things, and the town of Vernal is so artistic. I mean, they've got this awesome Veterans War Memorial Museum here with a whole attack Cobra helicopter on display that you can come and check out. And it's actually right across the street from the restaurant, which is right across the street from the Weston Lamplighter Hotel, which is actually a haunted hotel where they do a haunted house Halloween festival for a charity event in the community every year here. And I've done paranormal investigating in there, and this building right here, actually up in the corner up there, was the first place I ever saw an actual full body apparition of a ghost of a little kid that ran across the end of the hallway in this building in front of the window into a room with no exits, and I went in there and there was nothing there. But then if you come further down the road here, let me show you what else is here. Literally everything in Vernal, Utah is themed after dinosaurs and Native American stuff and the ancient indigenous petroglyphs. It's such a cool town. There is giant dinosaur statues and all sorts of murals painted all over the walls, and there is a really cool artistic touch to this whole town. And right across the street here from this park and museum, there is an actual whole dinosaur bone museum that has actual artifacts there and stuff that you can go to. But right across the street here is my friend's shop, where he has a bunch of really cool artifacts, and he is one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met about all of the ancient locations around the area. So if anybody knows, it's going to be Randy. This is my friend Randy's artistic shop. He's got a lot of really cool pieces in here, handmade art pieces, and he also does really cool photography that just blows my mind. I'm going to show you a little bit around the shop. He does not like to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. He does not. He has a bad history even with the name. He doesn't like to bring it up. So I'm not going to be filming anything with Randy, but I want to show you around. And if you come to Vernal, you definitely have to come here and check out Randy's shop and buy something. It's a one-of-a-kind handmade art pieces. You're not going to find it anywhere else.
What are you doing?
Hey, look who's home. Do you have any idea where those tall red pictographs are up by Doc's Beach? The one that has a bird head and almost like a top hat on or something weird?
Yeah, they're up there in the Stanica Diversion.
Stanica Diversion. I just went up there this morning and walked around, and I was like, this is, I could spend a week up here and never find it.
They're up there.
Randy actually stepped outside to talk to someone from the power company so he could to vlog in here a little bit. But he actually hand makes all of this artwork based on the local petroglyphs and pictographs around the area. And this is photography that he does of the geology, where he zooms in on these crystals with this microscopic camera and takes these ultra up close photographs like this, and they're just amazing and beautiful. Randy is awesome. He actually corrected me on a few things and updated me on the location of where there might be some pictographs and petroglyphs are that I don't know about. So maybe we can go try to find those as well. But he actually updated me as well and said that this isn't just a military historical museum, but this is a historical museum for the Uintah County and the Uintah Basin, and they have a whole bunch of ancient artifacts and Ute artifacts, and maybe even a haunting of a ghost. And Randy's wife is actually the curator of the museum and the head of the museum here. So I'm gonna pop in and check it out. I don't know if they're gonna let me film anything or take pictures, but I am gonna get an education, which is something else that Randy did, is he filled me in on some of the information in a former video I did about Brigham Young and some of the slave trading that went on between Chief Wakara and the Ute Indians. He actually informed me about an individual named Rubidoux and how they had a Fort Rubidoux up here, and that this guy Rubidoux was actually the primary slave trader, and he was actually doing it to the Utes and the Navajo and everybody, even before Brigham Young came into town. So I'm going to put historical links to update all that down in the description below. And right now I'm going to go in and check out the museum. So not only is this museum haunted, but don't forget, it's right across the street from where the first time I saw the full-bodied apparition of the child literally run across the hallway right by that window right there. And now I'm going to go in here where apparently there's haunted artifacts as well. So I've actually been given exclusive permission and access to come into the museum and actually film the artifacts here. But you've got to check out the link in the description down below to give full credit to the museum and all the hardworking people here in order to tell the full story of the heritage and the history of the Uintah Basin and these amazing people. So I'm going to turn my camera around and tell you guys some amazing stories and show you some really cool artifacts in here. These are some of the baskets, and at first glance you look at them and you're like, wow, those are really cool baskets, but look at the intricate pattern, the lightning bolt going up through the basket and how finely woven it is. I think it's just absolutely amazing. This one was actually, it says that it was dated around 1050 AD, around that time. And then it just gets cooler and cooler. See these staggered step pattern like this? These were called burden baskets. They would carry bundles and bundles of stuff. This one also has a step pattern going around it. This was found in the Dry Fork Gorge. So a lot of this stuff has been donated to the museum, and it gets more and more interesting. So everything over here on the left is all Ute artifacts. And then we've got unknown artifacts, Anasazi artifacts, and then a lot of other ones over here that are Fremont people, First People collection and Fremont people. So some of these are really old. A lot of the artifacts down in southern Utah around the Grand Canyon and into Arizona look like this, which is why this is an Anasazi water jug. In fact, I find a lot of pottery, pot shards that have these kinds of painted lines. So it's really interesting when you see a full-size pot to actually get a sense of the idea when you find a tiny little piece that's curved and painted, that curved piece might have just come from a little part of the neck up at the top for an entire big jug that actually was there. And I'm going to keep going around. This is actually a stone bowl. So this is, they call this the First People's collection because some of this, they don't even really know how old this is. Look at that stone bowl before they were even making clay pottery. It's like Stone Age tools. There's even this amazing little figurine of a mountain goat. It just blows my mind that all these artifacts are there. And I think I have an interesting feeling about which of these artifacts might be one that is giving off an interesting spiritual energy right over here. There's photographs of original people that lived here in the area doing peyote ceremonies and all kinds of cool stuff in here. They even have petroglyphs. Some of these were actually on farmers' fields and they were getting ready to plow their field. And so they wanted to remove these stones off the property. And so they were hauled up and moved and donated to the museum. But they actually have straight up petroglyphs carved right on top of them, sitting right here on the ground in the museum. All of these are probably located in and around the area of Skinwalker Ranch or the Uintah Basin. And once they've been moved, there's no way to know what they used to align to if they were some kind of a map. But look, you've got full-blown handprints, wheels, animals, serpent lines, energetic lines, all kinds of cool stuff. Look at this one, the guy with the feet with the dots going off, these big foot platforms with the hand, and then the lines spiraling or wavy lines going up and up and up to the palm at the top. So very cool petroglyphs just sitting here in the museum, but that's not what I think is haunting the museum. I actually think it's these artifacts here. You've got this bundle of wands that nobody knows what it was used for. And then you have this feather bundle. I'm honestly hesitant to even film this. Just even standing by and walking by this cabinet, for some reason, my intuition and everything gets feeling really strange and really weird. the feather bundle, the bundle of wands, this little cabinet right here full of artifacts feels like part of a ritual ceremony, probably a shamanic ceremony or something. That might be something strange going on here in the museum associated with that. So I'll show you guys the bundle of wands, and then I'll just dip down. You can pause the screen if you want to look at the feather bundle. But all of this stuff kind of is interesting. Some of it, they don't really know. These gaming pieces, I don't know. It's all speculative, but they could be like fortune-telling pieces. I think it's really cool that this feather is actually sort of clipped, like with the staggered step lines, or that almost serpent line, energetic line. And then you have these feather bundles over here that for some reason is really weird. I don't even want to film them. Now, this cabinet right here is probably my favorite display in the whole museum, and it's because of this bag right here. This is a red ochre pigment bag that may or may not have been used to actually paint pictographs, the red painting on the sandstone that we find all over the rock faces up here and around Skinwalker Ranch and the whole Uintah Basin. And this whole cabinet and everything, including this pigment bag, all was objects that fit inside this big backpack and could have been the artist's bag who is collecting pigments and going around actually doing the artwork in this area. Let me just try to paint the picture for you. You've got this big bundle, this big satchel or backpack here, and everything inside this cabinet actually fit inside and was found inside this larger bag. So up here, you had this whole bundle or bag right here, and this little stone pouch was full of these stone tools right here. And so this bag had all of this. This bag had all of this different type of clay for making clay pots or whatever they were doing. This little satchel had all of these stone tools right here. This bag had all of this clay inside of it, so this was inside of this pouch. And then they also found this big antler right here that has the pigment on it, like maybe he was using it as a tool. But everything fit into this pouch, this fit into this pouch, this was in this pouch, everything was into bundles, and then all of it fit inside this big backpack. And as well as inside of this big backpack was this red pouch of pigment. And there's a whole big ball of red ochre sitting in there. And if you even touch this, it gets all over you, and all over you, stains your skin, your clothes and everything. But this was all carried like an artistic bundle in this backpack for somebody who was maybe going around either doing pottery, making tools, or possibly responsible for some of the painted pictographs and petroglyphs around this region. So I think that's very cool to get this close to maybe one of the artists. This museum display is small, but it packs so much knowledge and information about how they lived, how they carried everything, how they would have worked, what they were interested in collecting, all of their artistic sensibilities and interpretations, a lot of the big stone tools they use. Don't worry, I'm gonna flip the camera around again and show you. But this museum has so many hidden gems. A lot of people have corn cobs, but did you know it's very rare to actually find indigenous corn cobs that still have the kernels of corn. So there could be extinct versions of corn that nobody's ever even tried or tasted in maybe several hundred years, sitting in this museum that very rarely can you find anywhere else in the world. You see that? You've got the kernels still on the cob. Usually you see it all like that already eaten, like the animals have got to it, but somehow these are still preserved and could be parts of species of corn that nobody even knows about still. And so that's all gonna get studied. And there's also all these other cool artifacts. This is like a ceremonial rattle that's full of stuff inside that you would shake. It's made out of the stomach of an animal. And then there's all these, stone tools and arrowheads and amazing artifacts, including the bows and the arrows and everything you can imagine, all just right in here to come and see. What an amazing and incredible and unique collection that they have right here in the heart of Vernal. All of the stuff that would have been going on right in and around Skinwalker Ranch. These are the original people that lived here, that settled here. These are their belongings, the artifacts, and a clue to how they were living and maybe what they were up to and what they were doing with all the interesting feathers, some of the rituals and ceremonies. If you get a chance to come and check out this museum, you got to check it out. They got a lot of other stuff aside from just the Native American indigenous artifacts, a lot of other cool pioneer settler museum and World War II artifacts in here, as well as historical information you can check out. So make sure and visit that link down below. They even have like a whole upstairs. I don't even know what's up here. Let's go see. Heyo, it's a whole historical collection. Look at that. If I say the words or I film too much of it, I'll actually get reprimanded on YouTube. But look at these ones. These are gold. Those are cool. So you got to come here and check this all out. And then look, it even has geological information about the mining of gilsonite. One of the theories around Skinwalker Ranch is that the geology of the Uintah Basin might be playing a role in the active phenomena that is appearing on the ground or how it affects human consciousness. And they have a whole historical display here on the gilsonite mining that went on historically in this region. Look at how they have these big chunks of gilsonite that was actually mined all over the place here, and they've got these historical photos showing how they moved in the area, and then some of the actual disasters and how a lot of this town was actually built based off of the Uintah Railway coming up here in order to get gilsonite. And along with gilsonite comes the oil industry, which is why now here in the Uintah Basin you see oil derricks, you see oil pumps all over the place scattered in the area, because they didn't just find gilsonite, they struck oil. Here we go, we're at the 7-Eleven Ranch restaurant. If you want authentic, old school Skinwalker Ranch vintage, this is where you come. Look at this gigantic, ginormous menu that they have. Folds out all the way, and that's what I'm gonna get right there. Country fried steak. It's like old school, exactly what you think it is. You know, sugar in the shaker jar, black coffee, Diet Coke in the Coca-Cola cup. I just got the half-size chicken fried steak. Usually it's so big, the chicken fried steak takes up almost the entire plate. I know that the camera doesn't really do it justice, but it's authentic American Western diner food. It's like when you go to Cracker Barrel or Denny's or other restaurants like that, what you would expect, but way better, because this is the real deal and it's been made like this forever here. I mean, it's instant potatoes, it's corn, buttered corn, chicken fried steak on a regular day, on a national average, on a scale of 1 to 10. It's gonna come in like a 4. It's gonna come in real mid, right? When you're hiking out in the cold in haunted locations or looking for UFOs, this stuff comes in more like a 7 or an 8 on a scale, I'm telling you. 7-Eleven restaurant's also a really good place to stop in and pick up your souvenirs, because they've got everything from alien poo to bag of dinosaur poo to all of your t-shirts and gear. And this is probably my favorite spot to stop and get Uintah Basin type swag. Everywhere has cool paintings and murals, and if you don't believe me, this is what I mean. This is back in the alley by like the dumpster and everything that nobody even hardly sees. And they didn't have to do this, but some artists came out here in the business and they painted a giant grizzly bear coming out of the wall. And pretty much everywhere you go, there's amazing spots like that with murals and artwork. The artistry of Vernal is just such a cool town, and even on the back of this 7-Eleven Ranch restaurant, which, let's be honest, I mean, it's diner food. It's more about the experience of the Wild West and being up near Skinwalker Ranch to get the chicken fried steak or the breakfast there. But the, you know, the food is like it's like a 4 or 5 probably. But look, see, they even have dinosaurs and decorations all over the place. But there's a lot of cool artwork all over the town that you can go check out, take selfies with, and see, as well as all the big dinosaur statues and stuff. It is really cool. But I got some tips from Randy on where some pictographs are, some big red painted ones, and I think it's cool, since we just saw that bag of red ochre at the museum, to maybe go see if we can find it. Hasn't started raining yet, so maybe these are right closer to the road and we can find these a little easier. I've got other places that we can stop to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so don't worry, we'll try some other spots too. I also remembered I've got my dicyanin goggles that have this violet purple hue that supposedly reveals things on the astral plane and anomalies.
Territorial,
Oh, yeah.
very territorial. If there's something in that freaking mesa it does not want you fucking with. And I'm like, okay, is it automated AI from like some freaking ancient shit? I don't
So did you guys have sort of like weird holographic consciousness sort of weird things?